Okay, we are back. Wait, tell me what you were just about to say.
My Maru type cream top coffee that I made on my own is so good.
I'm so jealous. I wish I lived there so I could
I
have
made it from
coffee.
Karen and I, and she ChatGPT'd how to make like the cream top. And I happened to have some heavy cream from Alexandra, heavy cream. And then we took a little bit of that, took a little bit of the Strauss whole milk, and I got a little bit of that cream that's like the cream top from the whole milk. And then I put a little bit of honey and then some of my homemade vanilla, because I have this biodynamic vodka that we take the lay vanilla and put it in, and it's really good. And then we frothed it up with like the little Peak frother. I don't know where I forgot where I got these cups. These mugs are so cute.
No, I know where you got them.
Oh,
it's
Elk.
not Elk Friends?
Yeah, Elk Friends. They're great. They're these little glass cups, and they come with a silicone sleeve. If you guys have been around for like a decade from when I used to do this, I would find the silicone sleeve to put over the mason jar. I would find the separate top with the glass straw. It was like a pain in the butt. Now they make them all together.
My homemade Dr. Organic Mommy ones. Those are some of my favorites.
Right?
OGs.
The OG. Rachel took my other one. She finally is using it to drink water.
Oh my gosh. I need to order those Elk Friends.
Really
am not drinking water or anything healthy. I am eating those Dubai chocolates nonstop. I like bought them on Amazon in like a 17 pack. And now I can't stop eating them, and it's a real problem.
I think that's a real problem because those are supposed to be once in a while treats, but okay.
Yeah, not so much. I was talking to Sharon from Wow Bakes last night because I was asking her if she makes Irish soda bread. Weird.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a thing for St. Patrick's Day. It's delicious. She's going to try to attempt to make me one. I'm going to try to pick it up from her tomorrow. We're going to
see she can make you a gluten-free version. That's great.
Yeah. And she said if she makes it, she'll be selling them. So keep you guys posted.
There we go. Cheers to that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
what are we talking about today?
So it was interesting. When we were away at Expo West, you took a call with a friend who was having some issues with her daughter. And she was literally mid-tantrum when she called you. The daughter was mid-tantrum, screaming. And it was fascinating to me because I got to hear you kind of walk the parent and the child through the whole thing. So I really
want FaceTime. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to, record that or show your friend or her daughter because A, we've all been there, and B, privacy. But I do want you to walk through that whole situation with our audience so that other people who are going through it can try a similar method.
Okay, so it was a 4-year-old little girl, and she's a very strong-willed little girl. And I get that. I have one of those as well. And she's more sensitive. And so you just have to take a different approach. And not every child is the same. She has an older daughter, and the older daughter is very different. So she did not want to put her toys away in her room and got really upset and just started throwing them all over. And there were toys downstairs, and she was supposed to bring the toys back and put them away. And she just started throwing more and more toys and screaming. So when she called me on FaceTime, she was screaming in the background. So I just told my friend to put me in her direction so I could see her. And let's call her Sarah. And I said, Sarah, you really want to play with your toys, don't you? I see that you want to play with your toys. And she looked over at me while she was screaming, and she saw me talking, and she heard me being really quiet and calm. I said, oh, those are such lovely toys. Which one is your favorite? And she started to calm down. And the reason behind that is because no one took the time to acknowledge what she wanted. It doesn't mean you're not going to hold the boundary. And I think that's the difference where people get confused with this like gentle parenting thing where you have to like validate all of their feelings. Yes, but you have to hold a boundary. Kids need boundaries because they need those to feel safe, right? And plus, you don't want your child to walk all over you. So when I acknowledged what she wanted, she was able to then calm down. And because I was regulated, she was then able to borrow from me and use my regulation basically to calm herself down because I was so calm. There was no judgment. There was no shame in my voice. There's no punishing tone, but it was just more curiosity. And so she looked at me and she said, "This one is my favorite toy." And I said, "Oh, what's her name? Does she have a name?" And she was showing me a doll. And she says, "No." I said, "Oh, so it's just your doll." "Oh, well, your doll and all your other toys are oh so sleepy. It's time to tuck them in good night. May you show me how you tuck them in?" And she looked at me and she nodded her head yes. And I said, "And mommy would love to help you put those toys into bed as well. And she can help you as well." And so my girlfriend was a little confused by that. And I think she thought, well, the child should just put them away. At 4 years old, you need to help them, and they need a little bit of modeling, right? And so when you model that for your child and help put them away with the child, not only are A, they're more likely to do it, B, they see how to do it, and C, they feel comforted knowing that you are participating with them, so they feel that connection. So she started to go then put them away, and she was very excited about doing it, and she was tucking them in. I said, "Oh, do you have a little blanket to tuck them all in? Good night." And she started to put them away, and the temper tantrum was gone. The point is that when they're mid temper tantrum, the point is to acknowledge what they want first, because that will help bring them back down. Now, some children are just so in fight or flight mode that they can't. And so you just have to sit with them. And that's the hard part, especially like if you're late for work or you have to go do something. You know, when you have a strong willed child who is also very sensitive, like a highly sensitive child, I will always tell parents and myself as well, because I have two of those out of my four kids, you have to give them more time. So for my one child, my daughter, who is like that, I have to make sure to prepare things the night before for her. So I pick out all the clothes. And yes, it's easier to do that with the other kids as well, but they don't necessarily need that. She needs that in case she breaks down in the morning and something triggers her and she flips out. And so she needs that extra time. And so we prepare things the day before. And she gets up a little bit earlier to have that extra time to built in case she breaks down.
Okay, I love that. I think there's a couple things that you brought up that I want to highlight. The regulation of a parent, sometimes easier said than done. In the case of your friend, it was like way easier for your friend to be able to call you to be the regulated person, like phone a friend when you're having a moment, which, we've all been there. Um, I was kind of thinking like, "Oh my god, I wish I had done this when, like, my son was 4 and having a meltdown, and I should have phoned you," because that was like that feeling of just overwhelm is so intense.
It is, and you have to try and remind yourself that it has nothing to do with you. And I think that's what's happening in the moment with my friend and even with myself. I've experienced that where I've felt triggered because they weren't listening. And it brings up like, well, when I felt like no one was listening to me as a child, or in a different relationship or whatever might bring up those feelings for you where you weren't feeling heard. And so when a child's not listening to you, you feel really frustrated. And so you have to tell yourself, she is 4 years old. And that's what I kept telling my friend. I said, repeat after me. She is 4 years old. I am 43. And so when you kind of go through that repetition and start to say those things to yourself, you reparent yourself. And so you become less and less triggered as time goes on. It's not going to be perfect, but you are then growing with your child, which is really helpful because when you get to the tween and teen years, it will be easier.
So important. And I think at some point she brought her husband in to hear all of this too, which, like, all of us want our husbands to be able to hear this, like, well, I can regulate, but he can't, or whatever. So do you want to explain that you
Well, I
can't
think
control another person's behavior, I guess is
no, you can't, but you can help someone understand what's going on. And so in the moment, I explained that not only do you have a 4-year-old child that's only 4, so developmentally very normal to have these temper tantrums, because this is how you teach them to regulate their feelings. Because if they don't learn how to do this now, they're going to struggle as they get older. When, they mess up on something, or when someone doesn't listen to them, or when they feel like someone's in their space, you have to build that foundation in when they are this age at, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. So that way they are prepared for later. The next thing I explained to both of them really was that she wants autonomy. And so you have to find ways to build in moments of autonomy, because if you're constantly harping on a child and telling them, you have to do this, you have to do this, it's time to go to bed, you need to do this, it's really uncomfortable. Like, I explained it like if you had a boss who's constantly telling you what to do and giving you no freedom to explore, to have your own ideas, which I think a lot of us have been there, it's really disheartening and feeling like, well, I can't do anything. This stinks. Right. And so you just, as a child, you act out. And even as an adult, some adults act out. Right. And then what I like to talk about is what happened beforehand. How do we try and prevent some of these temper tantrums from happening? So I say, walk me through what happened beforehand. And she said, well, she needed to put her toys away. So I said, you have to put your toys away or I'm taking them away. And I'm like, okay. So obviously the parent was really triggered in the moment. She's exhausted. She's going through a lot of stuff, and which we've all been there. And those threats don't do anything. So what I gave as an example is to say, instead of saying, if you don't do this, then this will happen. That's a threat. When you put your toys away, then we can snuggle together and read a book. So do you see the difference, not only in tone, but in what I'm saying to them? It accomplishes the same thing.
Yeah.
It's incentivizing them, and it accomplishes the same thing, but in a completely different way. So it's really just the language that matters. When you're talking to a child, it's just a very different approach. And some children, you can say like, oh, go put your toys away. I would say most of the time that doesn't always work, but some children, like, she said, oh, my other child is, quote, easier. So I want to also get away from that terminology, because when you think that inside your head, well, one child's easier than the other, children are very, very attuned with our facial expressions, our tone, like hyper aware. So they can feel that. That's why I say when you refer to a child as a picky eater, oh, they're just picky, they won't eat that. They can pick up on that. Even if you're thinking it, they can pick up on it. And so we have to just say that's a very different child. Two different kids, they take different approaches. And when you have a strong-willed child, let's find the positive things about that. That child's not going to,
take
be
from anybody.
She's not going to take from anyone. Better way to say it. I was going to say she's not going to be easily influenced by anyone.
That too. Yeah, that was both great points.
So those are important things to bring up. So let's talk about, like, how do you prevent it? Again, acknowledge what they want first. You really don't want to put your toys away. I know. I get it. Your toys are so much fun. But right now it's time to tuck them in. I don't want to tuck them in. I don't want to put my toys away. I know. When we don't put our toys away, we're not going to have enough time to read our 3 books. I'm not putting our toys away. Oh, well, now we're only going to have time for 2 books. And so we're not threatening. We're just letting them know that it's their choice whether they'd like to play a little bit more and have less time to read. No, I want my 2 books. I want 3 books. Oh, you want your 3 books? I'd love to help you tuck your toys in. Good night. So that's just the way to kind of help soften it and prevent the explosion.
Such great tips. Again, I wish I could go backwards. The funny is,
we all do.
I have a strong-willed child, and those days were rough. So I completely sympathize with what your friend and others go through.
And it's hard. Like, I will tag my husband in when I'm just so frustrated. I have an easier time with the little ones. With the older ones, it gets really frustrating because I say, like, I feel like I'm a broken record. I literally said this to my tween today, and I was like, you needed to go to sleep on time. You need to stop eating I left out all my expo snacks. And so, full of not great ingredients. And I literally had a bag of expo. Like, one bag was like the approved snacks and one bag was the not approved snacks. And because people were just sticking stuff in your bags. Don't
but
get
the
me
older
started on the waste.
Like clamoring for the other stuff.
And they're clamoring for it all, to be honest.
Yeah.
At least my son was. And so I explained to him, I said, your immune system is going to take a hit. Your sisters all have a cold right now, or your little sisters, and you're not sleeping. And guess what? He woke up this morning and he had the cold. Whereas his older sister who listened to me, she was not eating any of the snacks. because she has one, cavity that's like on the surface. So we're trying to remineralize it to prevent it from, getting to a deeper cavity. And so she's not eating any sugar right now or anything sticky. And so she's being really careful about that. And plus she said, well, I don't want to get sick right now. So I'm going to make sure we really don't have any sugar and I'm going to get to sleep early. She's the only one still, knock on wood, doing really well.
It's crazy.
And he's frustrated. And I told him, I said, it's just really hard for me. So help me figure out what do I do? Because I feel like a broken record. He said, I know. He's like, I'm sorry, Mom. And we had a good conversation and it's a good learning experience for him.
He's such a good kid.
Yeah. But kids are supposed to mess up. And he saw that I was getting frustrated and he was like, are you on your period? And I was like,
oh my God, he said that.
Yeah. And I was like, oh.
Now we hear.
Granted, I think that was my fault because
bring back the episode with Christine.
Yes, all right.
Talking to
he
boys
walked
about
in,
period.
and I was like, I was like, I need space. Like, I was like, I'm like trying to change my cup right now. He's like, oh, you're on your period. Is that why? And anyways,
speaking of space, I learned something about myself this week with the Expo West. I think growing up as an only child, like I need alone time for like 5 minutes a day.
Does this have to do with the fact that we had to share a room and you're like,
I think we got to the point where we were going to maybe kill each other. You were going to kill me first, but it's fine. And like, I just think like, I think everyone can use like 5 minutes alone. It's just like good to reset. Maybe,
it is. It's not just
tantrums too sometimes.
They do. And I forgot about this part with my friend. So I tell her little girl, sometimes mommy gets frustrated and she's not mad at you, but she needs to learn to calm her body down. What do you like to do to calm your body down? And she says, I don't know. And I said, well, what I like to do is sometimes splash water on my face. Sometimes I go and I take a deep breath and I count to 10. Sometimes I jump up and down 10 times. And I said, what do you think mommy should do? And she said, I think she should splash some water on her face. I said, all right. My friend looks at me like I'm crazy.
She's like, I don't want to splash water on my face.
I don't want to splash water on my face. I said, but this is modeling for her ways to learn how to calm herself down so that when she's older, she can have those tools in her, case to like pull out and utilize, right? Because she saw how we calm ourselves down.
Amen. I mean, yes. I've been, as you know, except I didn't do it at Expo, which is also part of the problem. I've been meditating with the loom box every morning for like hundreds of days now. Like I'm on a streak.
I know you've been so good. Expo is just a whirlwind where I just feel like when I come home.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a lot and
self-care in like a good way.
We worked out
one day. But I think that getting on the couch in the morning and like sitting there with my loom box and my meditation on has now showed my son like that's a great way to start the day instead of like any sort of screens or whatever, or he sees me constantly on my phone, or I'm the type who jumps up and like starts editing a reel at 6 a.m. because I wake up with an idea, or like I wake up and go work mode. Like that's my MO. And so this is a new modeling for myself and for my family and really trying to
think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's really amazing for kids to see. And that's something I need to work on. I'm not great at it. I'm locked out of my phone until 7, but
I don't know. I disagree with you. I think you model by waking up and going to work out, which shows your kids like, this is mommy's time. This is my way of self-care. Like you've often said to me, I can't really function unless I do that in the morning. And that's your
that's my thing. Yes.
That's like an amazing thing to be able to show your kids. Like I take my time to take care of myself so I can take care of you guys.
So I also want to give another example of temper tantrums. So my friend called me back a couple days later and she said, all right, we're experiencing another temper tantrum and we don't know what to do. We have to have our child go to therapy. And so I said, walk me through it. She said she didn't want to take her diaper off from nighttime and she'd wanted to keep her diaper on. And so I said, well, what did you say? Walk me through that. And she said, well, I told her she can't keep her diaper on during the day. We don't wear a diaper during the day. She's a big girl. She has to take it off, which then led to her exploding. And I said, okay, we skipped the acknowledgement part again. You have to acknowledge what they want so they feel heard. So I said, Sarah, you really want to keep your diaper on right now? Nod your head. Yeah. Ah, I see. It feels cozy when you have your diaper on. You're not ready to take it off. I understand that. When you're ready to take your diaper on, then we may start the day. And you just let me know when you're ready. And if she says, my friend says, well, she'll try to storm out of the room and come down and eat breakfast, and she'll still have her diaper on. And you can just simply say, yes, you still want to have your diaper on and you want to eat breakfast. When you're ready to take your diaper off, that shows me you're ready to start the day. And you just hold that boundary. Now, she may, again, have that temper tantrum, but you have to be prepared for that. So when she starts screaming, I know you really want that. And when it gets to the point where she's like fight or flight, screaming, throwing things, yes, I'm going to hold your body to keep everybody safe. I'm here with you. I'm going to give you extra hugs. Now, some children need a little bit of space, so you want to create an area in your home where you have that ability. So I also advised my friend that there's too many toys in her bedroom. So she needs to move some of those toys out. We can have some stuffies. You can have books. You don't want to have too many books if she's a child of that age in her room on her own. Even if she's sharing her room, no more than 10 or 15 books. It's plenty. Plenty of books.
If you have the space to put them in storage somewhere, it's helpful.
Yes, if you have the space, obviously. I literally have like a bench in my room with all of our like books, like because we're got 4 kids in this house and it's a lot.
I hear that. I remember when you had me clear out the toys at that age. Actually, this was now my son's room, rather, like 5 years ago. This was, so he was 4, and it really did make a difference. Like, it is so amazing how a calm setting for yourself or for your kids' bedroom can really impact their sleep, their temperament, all of those things.
When you have too many things in your room, it becomes very overstimulating. And the same thing for an adult, honestly. This is an argument my husband and I have about, like, I don't want a TV in our bedroom, but, he loves watching shows, but, he also likes the idea of watching a show like outside of our room, because he doesn't like eating in our bed. But I'm someone who definitely eats in my bed, which Emily thinks is the most disgusting thing.
Okay, I'm with you on the no TV in the room. In the last 2 years, we got rid of our TV in our room, and it was a really good idea. I will say, like, on occasion, I'm sick or something, I want to be in bed, I just watch it on my computer. Right. It's not the end of the world.
I don't even know how to use our TV, so it doesn't even matter.
Right, that's another thing. I'm kind of with you on that. I don't know how to work half the TV situation.
There's so many channels. I was like, how do you just like watch regular TV?
It doesn't exist anymore. It's annoying. And then no snacks in anybody's bed, please. You're just going to get bugs. It's disgusting. Like, let's just talk about this. Enough with the snacks in bed. Like, what? Even like on my birthday, my husband and my son bring me breakfast in bed. That's like a thing, but it's a tray and it's eggs and there's no like crumbs. No.
All right. I will say very publicly, not ashamed to admit it, that's my, like, what do you call it? Vice, or?
That's your thing? That's disgusting.
That's my thing. Yeah. I love you.
I pray for your husband. No bed bugs. Ugh.
You go to the other extreme with your like hazmat suit, okay? I don't even know how you like have sex at night because you have to wear this hazmat suit.
Okay, this episode is over. We went from tantrums to the other side. I love you.
I love you. This podcast does not constitute medical advice or recommendation. Please consult your doctor.